Welcome back. This video is going to be about you were born for right now. So this has been so strong in my spirit, and I just want to encourage you, encourage myself, that we were made for right now. The world looks so crazy, but you know what? I've had so many, maybe it's just because I like to have fun and I find things really comedic. I feel like in my life, so many experiences in my life just were like a comedy story. I just have not had like nobody, and none of us have. Nobody has had like a standard like life. We have all had amazing experiences, and the things that God has put in your heart, the things that God has put in my heart, and the things that He wrote in your DNA before the foundation of the world, that He's even restoring back to original DNA through His power and His healing and His miracles. Because you know He can reform our DNA back where the enemy's like stolen stuff and messed stuff up. He can change that back. Because He's awesome and amazing, and He wants to do that. He wants us to take it back. But the things that God put in you before the foundation of the world, and in me, us together as the body of Christ, they are for right now. And He's not like, whoa, like what just happened? Like the devil's messing up with creation. Like what do I do? Like He's not caught off guard. He's not surprised. He knew this was like coming. He knew the travail of sin on the earth would shake things up so bad that like the whole world is like shaking, and even the earth itself in creation, sin messes stuff up. And the world was not created to live under such violence. And it's a spiritual thing, and it affects things. It affects creation, the destruction that we live in, or the righteousness that we live in, the love that we cultivate, and the unity that we cultivate. It affects not just each other, or like myself or that person. It affects relationships around me. It affects the body of Christ because we're all knit together. It affects my neighborhood and the places that I live and the people that I walk around and the stores that I go to. The things that I choose, the walls that I build up, the things that I'm cultivating in prayer, it affects things. So what I'm saying is that it's so important that we realize that we were made for this. Like we were made to win in this together. And individually and together, but wherever God takes us, we were made for this. So made for this. Like if you read stories, like I don't just read stories in the Bible or like hear testimonies, and maybe that's just because I'm kind of like a kid up in my heart. But if I hear testimony, I'm like, Lord, I want you to do that in me. I want to know that. Like I want to get that. And you know, it takes the work of God and a lot of cultivation with His work in me to like form fruit out of that little like childlike, like I want that. I read the King Hezekiah story years ago, or like Caleb's story. I'm like, God, make me like Caleb. I want to be like Caleb. I don't care what time frame it is. I don't care where I am in this, or what little strength I have, or how old like the world says I am. Like, let's take it. I want to go with you. And so there are things, and like the way, that's just how God made me. I'm just like, I want, like, come on, it's like a present. Like the world is like a present, so let's open it up and have some fun, Father. Or like reading the story about King Hezekiah. I mean, when the first time I read that story, like I got down on my face, and I was like, God, like this is, like you just wrote a story about my life. And I you know, like whatever the devil's coming against me with, like, and I like I'm going into the temple like King Hezekiah, like, or like Esther or Deborah, like make me like Deborah, God, where she honored your the kings in Israel, and she had a heart after the children of Israel. So that made her a judge. There was something in her that made her honorable to be set up as a judge. And there's wisdom that she cultivated in her life, like she didn't minister in her private home, you know, like she honored her husband. She ministered out under the whatever tree, I don't remember. I like got caught up on my thing. Please excuse me. Okay. Sorry. All right, so P.S. Fabulous, this amazing woman who I met years ago, these sweet things. If you ever see something, you're like, oh, that's so pretty, it's probably something that God gave me. You can say, he just dresses me way better than anything, and he's just, anyway, anyway, so this woman got healed of bipolar. She was healed of all sorts of psychiatric diseases years ago, and I stayed with her in a home. We were sharing. She was there like for a month, and I was renting there at the time, and she now makes all this jewelry. She's a single mom with 2 girls, amazing woman of God. But I love this woman. Anyway, so, all right, where are we at? Okay, so you were made, King Hezekiah, thank you, Lord. Okay, King Hezekiah. Okay, so King Hezekiah, okay, so yeah, like all of these ministers, like all of the stories in the Bible, like I read them, and I'm like, I want you to do that in me, or I ask him, teach me, like, what was it about her that made her different? Like, why did this angel get sent to Mary, who's what, like 14 to 16, whatever years old, the mother of Jesus? And he's like, you are highly favored of the Lord. Like, what was it about her that made her, I mean, they didn't have a lot of money, obviously, because they're, like, doing sacrifices with the poor people sacrifices. So it's not about money. There's something in the heart that's cultivated. And so God's been doing a lot in me, kind of just showing me things and teaching me things. I'm going to do some stuff about that. But this particular one right here, and I don't want to go super long, but that we were made for this. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about King Hezekiah because I love King Hezekiah, and his story resonates with me. So, and maybe his story will resonate with you when you kind of like get a picture like I got. So God kind of opened my eyes to this years and years ago. It was like 2012, 2013, whatever. And I read this and it changed my life, like changed my world, and I continue to think about it. It continues to come up in me. But here's the situation. So what the picture that I want to paint, the impartation that we want to give from the Lord is that you were made for right now. King Hezekiah was born for right then to be a king. He was born for that. Now, how did that play out in his life? All right, so get the picture. Okay, so he became the king over Judah, which is the 2 tribes. Okay, so after Solomon, like the nation of Israel was split into 2. So southern tribes, northern tribes. Northern was 10, southern was 2. I think I'm getting all the facts. I'm not sure on all the details, but please correct me if you're a biblical scholar and you can say that. But anyway, it's split off into 2, and basically, interesting scenario that God showed me years ago. Okay, so God had made a kingly line, all right? So that was under Solomon, the seed. There was a kingly line that was under that, and when the 10 tribes split off, they actually never had a good king. And yet, in Jerusalem, where the 2 tribes of Judah, those tribes, I don't remember the 2, but the 2 tribes stayed, they had some good kings. And the Lord showed me one time, if you reject the authority of I've put you under and go somewhere else, you'll never have a king that will have favor over you. You have to let me position you under who I'm positioning under. And even if it's not a godly king, if that's the king I've chosen, then you need to honor that. And we need to honor everyone. We need to honor all men, God says. That means weighty. We're all made in the image and likeness of God. There is a deep honor and respect that we have for every human being, no matter what is going on in their life and no matter what they're manifesting at that moment. No matter what's spewing out of someone's mouth, we still have reverence. It doesn't mean I listen to that trash, but we have reverence for them. Getting distracted, I'm getting off track. Okay, focus, Jenny. Okay, so King Hezekiah. All right, so 2 tribes, the nation was split into 2. Now, at that time, Assyria, this big bad Assyria, was taking the 10 tribes out, all right? So they had given themselves over to idolatry, given themselves over to sin, and so they were being led out into captivity. Okay, so now it's a fruit of their own choice, their own sin, so now they're coming into captivity. All right, so here's the scenario. Now, 2 tribes, these guys, they're watching all of their brothers and sisters, the 10 tribes, all get taken into captivity. All right, so King Hezekiah's father, it says he served the king of Assyria. So out of fear, he served the king of Assyria, and to appease him, so that, because he had fear, he's like, all my brothers and sisters are taken out to get, so either like, I better like appease this guy. It's like, big bad king, I'm gonna like get my booty whooped. And so they're all getting taken into captivity, and he is serving him. So what did that look like? His heart was not fully for the Lord. That was the fact. So he's, and a lot of times it says that they served God and they served their own idols. Or like they didn't prepare their hearts so they couldn't tear down the high places. So there are different things you learn when you just read and you just have God open your eyes. But here's the scenario. So what did this little boy, King Hezekiah, grow up with? His dad is serving this evil king that's taking all their brothers and sisters into captivity. Is he taking a stand for God? Is he taking a stand against unrighteousness? No. He's actually serving it for his own good, his own selfishness. We'll be safe if we just serve this big bad king and we don't have to go like they're getting taken into. Now, little boy King Hezekiah, before he was king, then his dad is a king, right? He's a little boy. It says that under that king, it took his son through the fire. So he made King Hezekiah pass through the fire. So if you read the story and you realize, when he says he made his sons pass through the fire, he's talking about little boy Hezekiah. So he made his son worship these idols, pass through the fire, do all this like nasty stuff. So this is what boy Hezekiah grew up with. Now he becomes king. And do you know what it says? It says he rebelled against, first of all, it says this. Now, this is pretty amazing because King Hezekiah, there's amazing kings in the Bible. King David, who had a heart after God, like incredible kings, okay? Now, it says that King Hezekiah trusted in the Lord more than any of the kings before him or after him, any of them. So with all of the amazing kings, so there were treasures in these different kings you can grab on and say, wow, what was it about that king that had him trusting in the Lord more than any of the kings before him and any of the kings after him? And then it says, and he rebelled against the king of Assyria. Now that's the king that his father served. Now what does the king of Assyria do? He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. Devils don't like when we rebel against them. They don't like when we serve God with our whole heart. Devils are okay if we go to church and serve him half-hearted and then worship our idols. They're like, it's fine. Like, I don't have a problem there. But when we go after God with our whole heart and we're willing to lay down whatever, he just don't make him mad. Don't make him mad. He doesn't like that. And that's fabulous because that means you're on the right team. All right. So if the devil's stirring up problems in your life, well, maybe you have some sin in your life, but maybe you're following after God with your whole heart and he's just mad at you. And God will show you the difference. All right. So because we're all working out our salvation daily. All right. So he rebelled against the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria comes with all his you better bow down and work, you better serve me, you better whatever. And then he goes to the people. You think you think you're going to listen to this king? Don't you dare listen to him. And you know what? The king, all of the people, they kept silent. Why? Because the king Hezekiah had instructed them to not say a word. So they're mocking them, they're saying all this nasty stuff. And do you know what? Here's the humble position of King Hezekiah. He's not all proud in this, he goes into the temple and he gets on his face before God. I'm pretty sure they fasted. Typically people fast when we really need God and help. And he got on his face before God and he said, I have no strength in this army. There were multiple times that kings got before God and they acknowledged their own weakness in terms of physical might and strength. And basically what they're saying is, you can do anything. And if you're going to fight this battle with me, give me strategy, show me how to fight it, or give me the victory, then it's won, it's done. Because you're greater than any army. However, I'm just acknowledging the facts right now. We have no might against this army. And so we acknowledge the facts. I'm in an honest place before God, but then I acknowledge, however, this is who you are. What would you like me to do, sir? So that puts us in position. All right, so all of that to say, you were born I was born, we were born together to win. And God can give you strategies of how to win right now. He wants to talk to us very, very specifically. He is talking to his people with his voice more than I've ever. It's absolutely amazing. There's a whole lot of deception going on. That's probably why he's pouring out his Spirit's so strong. And so there are a lot of people who think they're hearing from God, and they're very deceived. One of the ways, actually, this is enough for this video. I'm going to do another video. All right, God bless you. Have a great day. You were born to win.